Another busy day at Queen's Park as politicians return for a day of new sessions, with families packing the legislature over changes to autism funding. CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief Colin DeMello is there with the details. Colin.
Hi, good afternoon, Andrea. There were about a couple of dozen families here, all of whom have children with autism, and they say that the funding that this new government has proposed is simply inadequate. They say that it typically costs between $60,000 to $80,000 for a child with severe autism to get the intensive behavioral therapy that they need. What the Ford government is proposing is giving families between $5,000 to $20,000 a year, and even then, some of that money could be clawed back. Inside the legislature today, parents came face-to-face with the Premier. Families of children with autism packed the galleries of Queen's Park, hoping to convince the government to change its autism funding plan.
The new Ontario Autism Program is harming children and families in so many ways, even before it's rolled out.
The Premier addressed their concerns.
This is the toughest file I've ever dealt with, ever. It has emotions involved, families involved, children involved, and it's heartbreaking.
The highly unpopular plan equalizes funding for treatment, meaning any child with autism, regardless of their need, is eligible for up to $140,000 in lifetime funds. However, the minister responsible clarified today there will be limits. A funding cap of $20,000 a year for children 5 and under, and just $5,000 a year for children 6 and above. There will also be an income test. Households that make $55,000 plus of net income will see their funding clawed back. Households making $250,000 plus will get no funding at all.
We are making sure that the most vulnerable people in this program, that is low and medium income earners, should have the most support. But to the member's point opposite, that in terms of the $55,000 will be basically getting 98.5% of that budget of $140,000 from 0 to the 18-year-old.
Minister Lisa MacLeod stressed that the system was bankrupt. She had $321 million to work with and decided to spread it evenly.
That was heartbreaking. It was gut-wrenching. We had to make a decision so that we could make sure it was fair.
Prompting this response from the NDP.
For a politician that's been fighting most of her career on behalf of these families, once she's in a position of power, she is supposed to fix it, not make it worse. Not make it worse.
It is a thorny issue that will only continue to dominate the agenda for the Conservatives. It was calm for the most part inside the legislature, with the exception of one outburst from a protester, a parent of a child with autism. She yelled shame at the Premier directly. Premier Doug Ford did not respond to her. Reporting live, I'm Colin DeMello. Ken and Andrea, back to you.
Thank you, Colin.